Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? So I am working as a pastor, mind you. Working, I mean like when I opened this little family Bible-believing church here in this foreign land where I am overseas, I did it because I knew that this is a form of business that I can have, that you can make as much money as you can and avoid paying taxes, because you register your church as a non-profit organization business. And when you make money, when you make good money, especially when you attract those that are wealthy professionals, you do not need those that are not professionals in your church because they do not have money. We need people that are working. This is always the theme of my church. I try to attract those that are professional by giving. If you are a professional, you start to come to my church, then we quickly give you a position in church and we encourage you to invite even those that you work with to our church. And one day I was sitting down with my wife and my wife was like, this thing, it is more like a cult now because people, they no longer think for themselves. You are the one that is always thinking for them. Even when it came to that thing of vaccines, some of my church members, they had to consult with me even before they could go out and get their COVID vaccines. And I would encourage them indeed to go there because I want obedience. I don't want them to be rebellious, because I knew that if I was going to do the things what some of the pastors are doing, making sure that people do not want to obey authority, then the next thing that people will do to me is to question my own authority as a man of God. But it did not start like this. I used to be a regular guy staying in a location there in South Africa, in a place that is called Khayelitsha. I had came from Zim. This was in the year 2010. Unfortunately, I got deported and then I started to hustle. But on my way coming back, I told myself that I would not play around Bossman trying to get some buses that could take me to where my brother was staying. And then we used some trucks to go there because they were not being searched. I finally arrived in Cape Town, started working for this other construction company. But during those years, I then thought of an idea, because what was happening was that people that were working in Cape Town, that were from Zim as well as Malawi and Zambia, they used to struggle a lot because it was a very long distance. You can imagine that you are stuck in Cape Town, you don't have proper documentation, you have no way whatsoever to send money back home. So I spoke with this other man who was a South African man, and I told him that we could start a business. Someone would come to me with money and then he would pay us a commission, and then he would send the money to that person's relative. And from there on, that was when I raised enough money to buy my first Toyota Hilux. And I said, here people are still suffering. If I can get some customers, when they buy whatever their groceries or a building material, then I carry those building materials and then I drop them off. I stopped working until I even hired a driver and I bought my second vehicle. Unfortunately, there was tragedy that struck. It was during the Christmas holidays, just before Christmas, when we were rushing on our way, traveling from Johannesburg, and then one of my drivers who was driving one of my Toyota Quantum that I had bought, and I was using it in this business of transporting goods from Cape Town to Harare or any other place. And then he had an accident. In that accident, there was a person, a woman that passed away. And it was as if bad luck was just following me just outside of Beitbridge. I had stopped in Beitbridge and I told the driver to continue because I was looking for money. So I had this other woman who was my friend. She had a bottle store there in Beitbridge. So she had promised me that she was going to give me money so that at least I can help out the family of that woman that had died. And as my driver was making his way towards Harare, that was when he had an accident as well. Another man perished in that accident. All that I could do in that moment was to tell my driver to make sure that he was never going to get caught, because already he had ran away fearing for his life, because the accident where it happened, the community there, they were very angry. And here again in Zim, my driver, he had killed another person. I switched off my phone, not because I was someone who did not care, but I was stressed. I did not even know where to start, how to begin sorting out this mess. Two of my vehicles, one in South Africa, one in Zim, they had both killed people in terrible road accidents. I switched off my phone and I forgot about it. Later on, I informed my wife to bring herself to Zim because I had nothing. I had no money. And in time, I started working in Harare, trying to bring back my life together. And in that moment, that was when I discovered that I had a calling to be a pastor. I went and I struggled when I was at Bible school, and then I came here with my family. There was someone who sponsored us, and I came overseas. Life became a little bit easy, but then tragedy struck, because those spirits of the people that had been killed in the accident by my drivers, their spirits were now rising up and fighting against my family. I was called back home. I refused and I said I did not know and I did not believe that the spirits of the dead can come back troubling us. Those were demons. But deep down in my heart, I knew that this was trouble, nothing but trouble. In secret, me and my wife, we then went to this other traditional healer. We explained it to him that we knew that we were wrong, but that traditional healer said it was going to be very tough for him to chase away the spirit of that woman as well as the spirit of that man that had been killed in the accident. All that was needed was for us to become ritualist so that we can be given some things that we can use to protect ourselves. And in the meantime, we were supposed to start like a business, because this tokoloshi will be operating through me, and these tokoloshis that were going to be given to me, a male and a female, representing those that had died in those two accidents. What was going to happen was that my own daughters were going to become their spiritual wives, and my sons were going to become their spiritual husbands. And I refused, and then I was told that I had to dedicate my bloodline. So Brother Nashi, after that, that was when I told myself that it was far much better to become a ritualist, continued with our church, and we do use some charms, because there is a charm that I placed underneath the altar. So this is the charm that controls the people that do come to church. You can even be a university professor, a genius, but once you step into my church, you become like a sheep. And I will tell you what you have to do, and then you have to obey my own commandment, just like how we are supposed to obey the commandments of the Most High. When you post my story, can you please tell me? I'll be following through in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our brother right there. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Is it true that the easiest way to start a business where you don't pay taxes is by running a church? Is it true that you'll be getting free money?